Hello, 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 and welcome to the Crew Podcast. I am the visionary Queen Angela, and welcome to Season 2. I want to thank you for tuning in and for all of your support throughout Season 1. We're back, them divas of the airways. So thank you for joining us tonight. Share this with someone in your circle.
At Wings of Transformation Publishing, we are committed to helping our authors reach their goals and pursue their dreams of becoming published authors. We work closely with each author to ensure a successful publishing experience, and we are dedicated to helping them tell their stories in the most meaningful and impactful ways. We look forward to putting you on the path to writing your book.
Dallas Fort Worth. AALAC, the Chasing Your Dream Book Tour and Expo is coming to your area. Mark your calendars, May 18th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have some amazing authors, some amazing business owners that's going to be sharing about their brand. We have some workshop facilitators that's going to be coming out. They're going to be teaching on branding, marketing, and networking. I want you to plan to be in the building, to be educated, empowered, and encouraged. Come out, support. Well, welcome. I want to welcome you guys to the Crew Podcast. I am the visionary of the Crew Podcast, and we are celebrating International Women's History Month. I tell you, I've had three amazing individuals to stop by and share with us over the last 3 days. I have another amazing queen that's going to be stopping by, sharing about her brand. We're going to be talking about legacy and what that means to her and how she's creating a legacy right now. So I want you guys to do me a favor. Share this in your circle of influence because you never know what the next person may be in need of or what the next person may be able to take away, what nugget they may be able to take away. So, y'all, we're sharing about legacy. We're sharing about her brand. She's an educator. I'm going to move out the way and allow her to come up and introduce herself. We have tonight Dr. Tamara Foley. Welcome.
Hi, Queen of Collaboration. Thank you so much for having me. I really
How are you?
appreciate it. I'm doing great.
If you would introduce yourself to those that are tuned in, those that may not know who you are.
Okay, I'm Dr. Tamara Foley, and I am a lifelong learner. I have spent over 40 years in the education arena, working basically in urban school districts and with urban schools. I am currently, I'm not going to say retired from education, but I'm a retired educator because I still am working with schools, districts, and people advocating for children in trauma, advocating for those children that need us, those that need our support, students with disabilities, as well as anybody that needs our support, getting literacy or just finding out about the world, becoming self aware, and helping them to realize their goals. So I'm also a publisher. I have Garwell Publishing Company, and we help people to start from a manuscript to a published author. And we have a variety of services. You can go to garwellpublishing.com. And I also want to talk about that. I'm also a full time caregiver to my 99-year-old mother, of which I am extremely honored to be able to do. So that's who I am. And I am here to support, and I appreciate the Queen of Collaboration for allowing me to be able to have this opportunity to share with you.
Well, first off, I definitely want to applaud you for your work in education and 40-year dedication to education. That hats off to you, because that is just definitely amazing. Because our brown kids and me here in South Carolina, we rank number 50 in education. I think we may have moved up a little bit to like number 45, but we're still on the other end of the spectrum.
Mhm.
And I applaud you. 40 years, that's a long time. Um, where did you find your passion in education? Well, where did that come from?
Well, as when I was a teenager, one of the things I did was to babysit. I mean, that's how I earned some extra money. And so I babysat a lot of different children, but I had an opportunity of babysitting a young man, a young boy at the time, who had a lot of disabilities. And I was always honored that his mother uh, saw me, that I was capable of babysitting him and taking care of him. He's now an adult. Um, about I think he's about 40 years old at this point and doing well. But he was one that had a lot of physical needs. So I started on that journey, and really just wanted to do something to help, and that's help children with disabilities, to make sure that someone was out there advocating for them, make sure people really understand what students with disabilities, what it's like, what they have. And sometimes we just aren't educated enough, we don't know enough, and we make assumptions about people with disabilities, what they can't do. And I want to highlight what they can do. And so we've seen them in recent years on television, acting, and just all the opportunities and doors that have opened up. And I'm really happy about that, because when I started over 40 years ago, that wasn't the case. So I'm glad to see how it's evolved. And I just want to make sure that we are setting the next generation to be knowledgeable, to know who they are, and to be confident in who they are. And I think that's very, very important.
Wow. When I think about disabilities, I think about, you know, a different level of ability, and not just so a disability. It's just having a different level of ability, and getting people to understand that. I remember when I first started out in college, I wanted to do special education. Um,
Mhm.
I wanted to work with kids with disabilities. I ended up at a school that did not have special education, so I ended up taking what they call therapeutic recreation at that time. We worked with a lot
Mhm.
of people where we help develop recreational and extracurricular activities around people's disability to get them active and to get them engaging and stuff. So that's a little bit of my background. Had an opportunity to study at Morris Brown and do a couple clinicals in that field, and got an opportunity to work out at Georgia Regional Hospital. At that time, they were still open. So yeah, that's a little bit of my experience. I tell you, I definitely applaud you for that. But what made you get into writing and becoming a publisher?
Well, I've always wanted to write, had always wanted to write a children's book, meaning one book. And I started probably about 15 years ago. I wrote a manuscript, and of course, I was just trying it out. And um, two beloved people in my family, I showed it to them, and they said, "Oh, you just have too many characters. Oh, it's just too much." And so I kind of put it down and said, "Okay, I'll get back to it at a later date." Well, then I had a friend, Dr. Sharon Waddle, who's the psychologist, and she had written several books, and she writes on the spiritual side. So she written several books, and she said, "We need to do a book together." And so that really encouraged me. We did our first book um, about graduation and about helping children or adults to look at what happens when they graduate, what happens leading up to that, what goals do they have, what dreams do they have, and how, as African American children or Black and Brown children, how do we prepare them? How does it, what happens? Do they know what to do when they're pulled over? Do they know what to do when people say derogatory things to them? So we thought that was very important. And we really, it started out just being supposed to be just a card. Well, the card turned into a book. And so that was my first writing experience as far as an author. Then I wanted to still write that children's book. So COVID came. And of course, we all had a lot of time at home. So I saw how my own daughter, who's a public school educator, and other colleagues of mine were struggling during the time of COVID with just helping their children, um, especially the ones who already had their own children at home. So they were having to educate them. Then, of course, they were having to spend time, via Zoom or Google Meets or whatever format platform they used to educate other children. And I saw those children struggling because they didn't have any social connection. They were at home. So if they didn't have brothers or sisters, um, they were feeling lonely. And so that's how Cassie's Big Change came about, because I wanted to acknowledge the children's feelings, and I wanted to tell it from a child's perspective, because many times we write and we want to tell our story, but I wanted to tell it from a child's perspective and just the struggles um, that children were going through. And I'm going to say that children still are going through, because we still have a rise in mental health, even as we speak today, with our children. So that's how I started on this journey of writing. As far as the journey of publishing, I wasn't really sure I wanted
Wow.
to publish. So I actually took a class, a 10-week class. And even during that class, I wasn't sure that's what I really wanted to do. But the more I um, finished the class, then I decided, okay, I'm going to give this a try. I would really like to do this, because in my author journey and in trying to publish, I had some setbacks. I had some struggles, and I didn't want other people to have to go through what I had gone through. And so I felt like I would be a great resource, because I can help them not make the mistakes that I made and others make as we go through the self-publishing journey. So that's when I started to um, establish Garwell Publishing. And I did that to honor both sides of my family, my father's legacy, the Garrett side of the family, and my mother's legacy, the Caldwell side of the family. And I wanted to connect those two because that's who made me. That's, aside from with God's, of course, that's who I am. And those two families are an intersection of who I am today. So I wanted to honor my parents, and honor their legacy. And so Garwell Publishing um, became a reality. And I'm just so happy to be able to help young publishers. I want to talk about just for a moment my youngest client who was 7 years old, and he wrote his first book. And he was struggling with grief from the loss of his father. He lost his father at the age of 5. And so it was just rewarding for me to help him to get his story out there. And I'm just honored to be able to support him, his family, and help him to tell a story. And we all have a story to tell. It just depends on whether we want to write it, say it, uh, however we want to get our story out. So I love working with the children and helping them get their story out. And I was honored to be able to be chosen to help him with his story.
Wow. You are definitely doing some amazing things, and you are definitely creating and leaving a legacy. I like how you decided to come up with the name for your publishing company. What a way to honor your family and leave a legacy. I mean, that is something that will speak way beyond you, for those that are coming behind you. So definitely, that's amazing. And that's what we are talking about. How important was creating and leaving a legacy for you, when you were deciding to start your publishing company?
For me, it's very important because I think we don't always have the opportunity. And I wanted to make sure that people understood what legacy is about. What it is leaving something for uh, the next generation, for future generations. And how do we do that is letting them know who we are, how we got started, and then leaving something for them to take to the next level. And so that was very important for me. And it's very important because I'm an educator. And so that legacy of education is important, the legacy of helping others, of helping the social emotional learning part, of making sure that we help people to manage their emotions, building resilience, helping them build relationships. All of that is very important. And that's the legacy that I want to leave so that my next generation and my family can take that and go to the next level with it. I don't want them to do exactly what I did. I want them to take it to another level and to do something different, but just to know that this is where it started. And I think for me, that is just incredible.
Right, right. Being the blueprint, and being able to leave a blueprint for somebody to be able to follow, because just as the word tells us that we should do greater work, then it's going to be passed down. The word is not going to change. They're going to do greater works than we are doing. So it's just going to get better, and leaving that blueprint, for them to say, hey, my grandmother, my great grandmother, my great auntie, or whatever relation you are to them, they're able to say, this is somebody that's connected to me. This is somebody that's in my bloodline.
Mhm,
Now look what she did.
mhm.
So that's amazing. I applaud you. I would definitely like for individuals to be able to support you and follow you. Um, if you would share how individuals can connect with you.
So they can connect with me on Linktree at linktree slash Foley. They can also visit me on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, it's Tamara Foley. Um, I'm on Instagram as Education for All now, and that's the actual number 4. And on uh, Instagram, Garwell Publishing. I'm on Facebook as author Tamara Foley, Education for All Now, again, same thing. And then on Garwell Publishing. I also have a private Facebook group, Support for Children in Trauma. And they can also just join us, and we're all just learning about how to support children who experience trauma. And I just want to say that we know that our Black and Brown children experience and have a different experience of trauma. So that's our focus, helping all children, but certainly helping Black and Brown children, to help them to be to incorporate strategies and skills so that they can go from trauma to healing, so they're not staying stuck in the trauma forever and ever. So that's how they can definitely get in touch with me. You can also go to garwellpublishing.com, fill out a contact form, and you can also go to cassiesbigchange.com, fill out a contact form, or Education for All Now. So all of those places, you're able to contact me.
So, what can we look forward to doing or seeing you out and about in 2024? What's on your calendar? What's on your agenda?
Well, for 2024, you'll see me more doing just what I'm doing here today on podcast. I have been invited to share some information on a blog. I don't want to say yet because it's haven't gotten to the ending part of that. So just I'm trying to just let people know what's going on, let people know about mental health. So I have also, you'll see me just sharing information in regards to that. So I am very active with my sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha. And so in my chapter here in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, we are doing some wonderful things. So you'll see some things about that, especially around mental health, around helping children with food scarcity. So I'm working in all of those different committees with my colleagues and with my other sisters. So those are the things that I'm really working on. You'll also see, and I'm working on just right now, um, it is a book, and it's called Healing Hearts for Kids. And it's really helping them to heal through the trauma. It's for third through sixth graders. And you'll see some different, you'll see some spiritual things in there about helping children. So you'll see some things about trauma and meditations. So you'll see that coming up. But you'll also see producing more journals as far as social emotional learning. And then I'm also going to do some things that you'll see a little different, and that's with prayer and helping children who are Christians or who aren't Christians, just to know how to rely on God to help get them through, and using the Word of God to serve as a base for helping them to understand their emotions and helping them to get through their struggles and get through what life is all about. But seeing it from the perspective and not thinking that I can't do it, but this is how you can't do it. And this is what the word already says that has happened and can help you do it, and know that you're supported. So those are the things that I am doing in 2024, and really working hard on getting these books out.
Wow.
The last thing that I really want to finish 2024 strong is to finish my Cassie's Big Change series. So I am in the process. I've already written 3 of the books. They're not published yet. And I'm working on 2 more, so that by the end of 2024, I will have published 7. And biblically, 7 is completion. And so that's how I'll complete that particular series. And then I would like to start on something a little different, a new series. So that's 2024 in a nutshell. And that's what I plan to do and am working on doing at
Wow.
this point.
Wow. Well, you definitely have your hand full. You got a lot on your plate. Some great stuff, because I tell you, I would not be sitting here today if I had not worked with those babies in 2016, and everything that you're
Mhm,
talking about, sharing the word of God with them, and teaching them the power of prayer and how to pray.
mhm,
That was something that we did in
mhm,
our camp. And there was something that those kids, some of those kids didn't even know how to,
mhm,
but when they left there that summer, they knew how to pray. They appreciated and they loved it. So my hat's off to you. I applaud you. I thank you for doing that. I tell you, that was my start. Working with those
mhm,
kids, and just, pouring into them and them pouring into us, because it's
mhm,
the things that they poured into me that allowed me to grow and be right here where I am today. Because a lot of the stuff that I'm doing never would have probably been a published author if I had not worked with those kids that summer and was
mhm.
given the opportunity to be a part of an anthology. And that's what started it all. So I'm always grateful for those 30 kids
That's
that was
right.
a part of Pushing Grace that summer. I definitely am grateful. And I thank you, for all that you're doing. We're going to be looking for you. I definitely want to connect with you, because we're going to be in your neck of the woods. We're going to be in Chicago, Illinois in June,
Oh,
Chasing Your
great.
Dream book tour.
Oh,
When we leave, we're going to be in Fort- we're going to be in Dallas, Fort Worth, May 18th, and June to be in Chicago, Illinois. June 15th is when we're scheduled to be in Chicago. We are still working. We're waiting for confirmation on our location. So we're
okay.
definitely going to be sharing that out, getting that out over the next couple of weeks. But we have been working really, really hard behind the scenes. And then when we leave Chicago, we're headed to New York. And then in August, we're headed out to California, Los Angeles. Here we come. So excited about the Chasing Your Dream book tour. Definitely want to connect with you, and maybe we can get some of your baby authors a part of this.
Oh,
Get them a part of
absolutely.
the
Well,
Chasing Your Dream book tour, and what we're doing. I love to get them to come out.
yes, I would just love to. I plan to see you in Chicago, wherever you're at. I plan to come see you and to just support and be a part of your book tour. I'm excited about that. So, and certainly, the young man that actually published the book is in New York. So, when you get the uh, dates and times in New York, I'll share that with his family because I'm sure that they would also like to come out and support.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. We are definitely working on that. So I definitely want to thank you for stopping by and sharing with us on tonight. Before we leave, is there anything that you would like to share with those that are tuned in, or those that will hear this replay? Anything inspirational or encouraging that you would like to leave with the audience tonight?
Yes. So thank you so much again for the opportunity. But I just want to let people know that practicing self care is very important. As a caregiver, I spend a lot of time helping others, but also we have to stop and take care of ourselves. And I think that's very important, no matter what um, field we're in, no matter if we're a mother, a grandmother, a sister, we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves, and we have to make sure that we take care of our mental health. And we can't take help our children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, or anyone take care of themselves if we don't take care of ourselves and be the model for them. I also want to uh, just encourage people to get help if you're having any mental health crisis or mental health issues, and don't be afraid to see a therapist. That's what they're there for. And I believe that God put them on earth to help us. He gives us resources and make sure that we use those. And there's so much that we can see because we're seeing more and more Black and brown children committing suicide. And that's definitely not what we want to see. So let's get help for ourselves. Let's get help for children. And then we can help them and they will be a part of your legacy. So we can't have a legacy if they're not here, because that's who's going to carry out the work. So I just encourage you to help yourselves, help your children, be great models for them, and get them the help that they need. And if it's through journals, through psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, it's all out there for us. And there are many great African American psychologists, psychiatrists, um, and therapists out there if we feel more comfortable with our Black and brown people. And I have no issues with that. But certainly stay on top of it, help your children express their emotions, pay close attention, because social media and a lot of things are happening that weren't there when we were growing up. And so, but they play a great factor in their lives. And so we have to be diligent as parents, grandparents, sisters, brothers, to make sure that the right thing is being fed into them, is being dropped into them, and not things that are going to be abusive or harmful for them. So I want to encourage you to just continue in the faith, continue to be supportive, and continue to be diligent about looking and seeing and hearing what's going on in your children's lives.
Amen. Amen. Well, I definitely want to thank you for stopping by and sharing with us on tonight. You've been hearing from Dr. Tamira Foley on tonight. I tell you, I truly have enjoyed her. Make sure that you go over and support. We have her links in the comment section. So make sure that you check her out and see what she have coming up, some of her literature. But y'all, thank y'all. Share this out and have a great night.
Join Queen Angela on the Chasing Your Dream book